So, hey there, you guys. So, we have to talk about how to create your logo, right? Your logo is going to be created in Canva, unless you are someone who is artistically inclined and want to create your own logo by hand. I would never require that because I couldn't even do that. I would come up with stick figures and ridiculousness. But having a tool like Canva is amazing, and we can see it up there. All right, so this is Canva's homepage. Now, unfortunately, you can't get a Canva for Education account because that only extends K through 12. It does not extend to college use, but their free account is still excellent and packed with features that'll still be able to help you create a strong logo. All right, so now we need to start off with some sort of baseline for our logo. So some kind of template. Ooh, that was fun. Did you guys see that? Ooh. I'm easily distracted, but hopefully you find this trail of stars as cool as I do. So if you were to go to Design Spotlight up to the top once you've logged in, created your account, all that stuff, again, no paying. Um, you don't need to. If you go into logos and, would you look at this? Now we're here. All right. Create a logo. And now we've got a design, we've got some suggestions, which is really cool. This one doesn't have the little educational guy, neither does this one. So let's just grab this. All right, so this is a travel agency. Looking at it, it's pretty boring, right? It is totally boring. We've got beige in the background and then brown, like, unless you're literally just being like, come to this deserted, sandy, tropical island. Ridiculous. We don't want that. All right, so this is just a baseline template. So let's get rid of this stuff. Whoops, that's not how I wanted to get rid of it, but you know what? It worked out anyway. All right, so let's change our background color. Let's say we're trying to create another global warming, climate change um, type of organization. All right, so we'll start out. I mean, beige could kind of work for there as long as you've got other colors as well. But if you click this little color guy up at the top for background color, you could choose one of these. Sure, you could choose gradients. Sure, but none of these seem to really work. Let's see. That's a little bit like climate change. Nah, I don't know. I like more control. I don't like to cede my control to like a color that's already created. Plus, I don't really want my content to be dictated by someone else. So personally, I'm going to choose a color, and I'm going to choose a solid color because I don't necessarily want the I don't want to be confined by a gradient, at least not yet. Okay, so let's choose a color. Maybe we want something that'll blend with the background. All right, let's go maybe with we want something kind of grayish so that way our text can pop. Let's go with that. Nice blue that is, reflective of beautiful seawater. Let's go with that. Cool thing though, if you have a color that you love and you want to use it, you can actually use this eyedropper tool. I mean, I could even come over here and be like, I want it to look like the tip of my nose, which apparently I actually got my glasses. So, you know, whatever. But the eyedropper tool is amazing. Let's go back to the kind of color that we chose before. It's got some gray, but also beautiful water. Okay, so we're here. Now, the cool thing is from here, you can then go into elements. Okay, if you click that elements button, you'll see all the elements I've searched for. Well, I searched for these. I don't know what these are. These are something special. Chances are you're not going to have recommendations that work for you, right off the bat. You got to work with it and kind of start using it before you can have that. So let's say I want to do something tropical, right? Ooh, okay. So we've got some fun stuff going on. Let's see all graphics. Okay. Now remember, we're choosing a logo, so we want to make sure there's a place for text uh, in our logo. I want to choose something that's not edu. Um, this could be really cool for giving us space to put our um, title and catchphrase, right? Our organization title and catchphrase. So let's kind of pop that there for now. I mean, we could also use something like this, but that's a little much looking at it. You can, of course, make any changes that you want. If you need a smaller size, if you need a bigger size, right? We can go a little bit bigger than what we originally had. And we've got these guidelines that are really cool. They'll pop up like if I'm dead center here, it's going to pop up. If I am centered vertically, it's going to pop up. If I'm centered horizontally, come on, there you are. So they help you make sure that your logo looks symmetrical and clear. All right. Now, let's say you like this color, but it's not necessarily, let's see, wait here. It's not necessarily as helpful with it so dark, right? You want to add a little bit of texture to it. Ooh, and when you do this, it makes it look wiggly. That's fun. Um, so say you want to make it look a little more sandy instead of like aggressively orange. Okay, now we have that. It really is still wiggling. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so we then want to say, okay, well, what else could we use? Like we could use something like this, right? If we're trying to do something that's related to climate change and adjust our color, again with this box up in the top left, right? And choose from there, or we could kind of just go in, wow, that is, whoo, that's something special. You always want to make sure that your colors, they pop, but they don't like attack your eyeballs, right? So this is something that you'll want to, that's attacky too. It needs to be something a little bit darker, so that it's a little bit more soothing when you look at it. Because if it's not, then your reader is going to be like, what in the world's happening here? And you want to keep that in mind for your font colors too. All right, so this is really ugly. I'm not going to lie to you. I hate it. I would not use this as a logo, but this is just for the purposes of the assignment. Now, you could also say, well, you know what? Maybe I want like a nice circle behind it. Okay, so you just type in circle, type in add a shape, and you're like, wait a minute now, you can't see anything that's, that's here. Well, if you right click, wait, I lied, hang on. There we go. You don't right click, you click the more. And then you say, okay, well, I want to make it, I want to send it back. Okay. So send it all the way, send it to back means put it like at the bottom, just above the background. We don't necessarily want to do that. I want to send it back. Whoops. I'm going to send it backward, um, so that we can then see. Why is that hiding? Maybe we need to play with this other image. Oh, is it the same color? It might be the same color. That would do it. There we go. Okay, so let's go a little bit grayer. And with this, maybe we can make this look like a sunrise. Okay, and so now we're finally getting somewhere a little bit. Okay, now you look at it and you go, ah, this is looking a little wonky. You're right, it is. So let's play with this a little bit. This is a downside to using transparency, right? Sometimes you can see over it, which is always a complication. But you can work and play with it and kind of resituate. You can see those guidelines also show up within shapes, so that's really beneficial. You can make sure that you are like perfectly centered, perfectly in line. Um, Now, we have to come up with our logo, so we need some text, right? Um, let's add a heading. Whoa, that's big. They always make it super big to start, but we have full control. So let's say we want to do, let's kind of play off of Global Warming Consortium, and we'll call it Climate Consortium. Okay, again, this is just a sample. This is not, um, something that I'm saying you should do because it won't meet the assignment requirements. It's too close to Global Warming Consortium. All right. So we now, let's see, we'll want to probably move this down here. Um, this text doesn't quite fit, so we're going to have to play with the size a little bit. Um, all right, a little bit better, a little bit better. And then is there a way, let's see here. There may be a way to, let's see. Add a curve. But not just any curve, because we want this to kind of match the curve of our fun little floop there. So we can do that and then maybe bring it up just a touch and kind of center it a little bit. There we go. But this color is all wrong, okay? So now we're gonna have to play with our color. And we go up to text color, and let's say we want to bring in maybe some green, but we know that it has to be kind of dark because if it's not, then we might be, kind of competing for like with the light colors. And you know what? Let's take a look at what that looks like. All right, decent, decent. Let me make sure that's centered. It's kind of bugging me that consortium is not. Let me kind of, hey, put it back. Sometimes it'll fight you a little bit, and we have to, of course, work within the bounds of what we've got. Um, but all right, that's doable. It's doable. It's not ideal. Ideally, I would like the center to be the center of the words, but I don't want to waste your time in this video playing with it. I could get it there, right? I can add two titles. Actually, let me kind of show you how you could do that. So it could be climate, all right, text, and cool thing, if you've already used a color, you could just grab it from there. I don't remember the text size that we used, but let's go with 26. I think it was something like 24. We add our curve, but of course we've got to broaden it a little bit, okay, to kind of match the curve that, whoops, that we've got in our little foop. I still don't know exactly what to call that, so we're going to just roll with it. So we'll go climate, and then we'll add some more text, consortium, and guess what? Right now, it knows I wanted the green, so solid. And we were at 26, so you could either arrow down or you could just type in 26 or pull it from the list. We click on it. Actually, let me drag it first so I could get that frame of reference. And whoa, that is far too curved. So let's go and kind of match what we had above. Okay. And now I can grab both by holding down the shift button. And I can even group it if I want it, but now I'll be able to find that center alignment. All right, so we're looking much, much better. All right, but now this kind of grayish, this doesn't work anymore. We've got a lot of greens going, natural colors. So we'll want to kind of match, okay? And now you could also say, well, wait a minute. We still need a catchphrase. You're right. So let's add another heading, okay? And let's just use, for argument's sake, global problems, global results, just like global warming consortium. Okay, global problems, period. All right, since we've got a circle going on back here, and we've kind of got like a little bit of an arc with climate consortium, probably going to want to mirror that just so that we are continuously working with the same materials. All right, so let's go adjust our curve a little bit and I'm going to move it over so that we could see it in terms of our circle. Okay, and now we can spin it. Phew. Global problems. We're going to need that to be smaller because we don't want our catchphrase to be bigger than our title. And our title was 26, so let's go 22. Oh, we're going to need to adjust our curve again. Yeah, we will. All right, let's see how that shapes up. Not quite. See, this isn't difficult. It's just mainly about playing and saying, okay, well, what looks the best? What is sharing my ideas in the strongest way? Okay, cool thing. Now that we have global problems, we can duplicate it, we can flip it, and we can kind of put this down here. It's not really working because of where we have climate consortium. So let's kind of scoot it, maybe use this as our pivot point. Whoa. See, I'm not the best logo maker myself. Just a little. Too much. Too much. Okay, wait. Aha! We got it. We can have global problems, global problems. We need some results in there. So don't forget to change your text and then again resituate. Okay, anytime you tweak it, you might need to kind of flip it around if you're working with this kind of curved text. You might say, wow, that looks like it's a huge pain in the butt. Yeah, it can be, but it's about maximizing your visual rhetoric, right? Your ability to convince people based on small things that make a big difference. What I'm trying to do right now is get this space between the yellow circle and the text to be the same on both sides. I think my curve is slightly off, and I think that's giving me a little bit of a hard time. You can also use your arrow keys to adjust the curve, to adjust, whoops, not that, to adjust the location, which will give you a little bit more control. All right, so let's say we've got this exactly how we want. This is not this is not how we want it long term, right? This is just for the sample, okay? Because honestly, you look at this and there's a lot going on here and a lot of stuff that doesn't quite work. Honestly, this background color might not work anymore. I kind of feel like we need to go like a little bit of um, a deeper blue, like I don't know, maybe something. mm, it's got to be more night sky like because we've got something that kind of looks like a moon or a sun. So you want to kind of play around with that. And then, of course, that means we'll need to tweak our font. Um, so that's kind of the big thing. Continuing to hone, continuing to play. So we can select everything all at once, which is great, and then just be like, oh, we want green, but we don't want that green. That green is a little intense. Okay, that's a little bit better, but still not great. And then from here, we can kind of play around with it and say, okay, well, let me tweak it. Okay, and so then we have something like this. Again, this is still not like submission ready at all. Take your time with it and make sure that you have a clear, solid understanding of exactly what you're working with. Um, and you know exactly how you want to convey that visual and textual rhetoric to your reader. The logo is one of the most important things, partially because it gives you such control, right? You can meld visual and textual rhetoric together in a way that you don't in any other area of your essay, okay, or of your website. Sorry. So let's say this is what we want, okay? So here we go. We go share and download. Okay, you download your file, an MP4 video because of the wiggly. All right, we don't need the wiggly. We can download it either as PNG or as JPEG. I'll just do it as JPEG. I wouldn't recommend adjusting any of these. We download, and then we'll see down here it's downloading the file, and then it just downloaded it for me at the bottom. Okay, and once it's downloaded, you can open it in whatever software you have. All right, you can't manipulate it in the JPEG file, but you can go back onto Canva, make some tweaks, and then share it with yourself again. Download that file again. All right. And once you have it as an image, then you can actually just import it into your PowerPoint. So let me just open up a random template. Excuse my annoying dialog boxes one more. There we go. We can zoom in and say, okay, well, let me get the one that I want for our mission page, right? Instead of our home, because home it's going to be really big. Our mission, I want to just do it small. Okay, so you go insert, and then you go pictures, picture from file, okay, and I have it chilling in my downloads. Where'd you put it? There it is. Usually likes to put it right at the center of the slide, just so that you're aware. Now, I would say when you go to put this in, you don't want to just like chunk in a whole square and be like, all right, I'm all set, right? Because no, you're not, right? This still looks kind of crummy. What color are you going to put behind it, right? All of these things are things that you want to think about. All right. So the important thing once you do this is, okay, well, how do I make this blend with my ideas, right? Maybe you want to put it to the right hand side, which is a little bit of um, you know, a different kind of rhetorical choice because people technically or typically in this part of the world read from left to right. But this is the second page, so you have a little more flexibility. All right. If you click the lines for any of these are actually just rectangles. Okay. So that's a rectangle. This one is a rectangle. It's this whole big part. This one underneath is another rectangle that's partially hidden by the top one. All right. So click the line and then you go into shape fill and you could say, okay, well, I do want fill, but I don't want any of these boring colors. More fill, and then this little pop-up will happen and you'll have an eyedropper, which is so cool, just like before. But now you could be like, oh, wait a minute. I kind of need that blue. Huh. Would you look at that? Now your logo matches seamlessly. It looks like it's just floating there in that rectangle. Now you might say, okay, well, I want some continuity. So I want to do shape fill and I want to fill that same color. Okay, so you put that one behind it. We still have this one on top. Maybe we want this. This is going to look awful. I would not choose this, but I could imagine it being like the starting point for choosing a color. Let's see if I could get an effective bit of this green. There we go. There we go. Okay, again, this color combo, not great, but it reflects the colors from the logo. It keeps things looking cohesive. I would continue to hone it. Personally, I'm not sold on the color in the logo. But again, this is why it's something that you continue to push through and continue to work with. All right. And then you say, well, wait a minute, though. I want to change my fonts because these fonts look boring. Okay. Yeah, they totally do. This might be good for like body text, but it might not be good for things like headings and like buttons. All right. So once you do that, to select these, I just hit shift and selected each of them. I think this is one area that's different on a Mac compared to a PC. On the Mac, you click shift and hold it. On the PC, I think it's control. All right, but it's one of those two. All right, and then we can say, okay, well, I need a font that is going to give me like a professional vibe and yet be able to help me share my ideas. So maybe Felix tiling. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, it made things look a little wonky, but we can just kind of pull those out and straighten it up. Okay, cool. So we're looking good. But our font color is still rather boring and it doesn't pop against the screen, right? So now we can go into the font color area. We can go into more colors, right? Say we want to, I don't know, use our eyedropper tool again for a different part. I think this yellow is going to clash terribly, but we'll give it a go. All right. Well, it's not as bad as I had thought, right? That's not terrible. And the thing to remember is that we are on our about or our mission page. So we'll want to select it and we'll want to signify that we're on the page by changing the color just a little bit. All right. And this could be something as simple as, all right, well, let me lighten it to show that I'm on this page. All right, let's see. Does that give us enough contrast? Not really. Okay, so let's go back in and say, all right, well, is there another color we can maybe use? Yeah, we could probably use that brown. Let's give it a go and see if that blends enough. Oh, goodness, that's awful, right? And it's all trial and error. You just do it and you go, okay, can I read it? Is this effective? If it is, awesome. If it's not, okay, well, we got work to do. All right, so maybe we could go more beige than yellow and see how that looks. Okay, that's a little bit better. I wonder though, if we were to, let me select, there we go. If we were to go bold, oh, that's nicer. Okay, so let's see what it looks like if we were to go bold with all of this. Ooh, I'm kind of digging it. And then each time you reference, like, if we are on the home page, then the home button would be beige instead, and our mission would be yellow, right? It's just a good way to signify which page you're on, okay? All right, so I think that covers just about everything. There is a pane that could be more helpful to you. It's called the shape format pane. Okay, and if you were to click, let's see, how does that work here? If you're in shape format, oh, okay, format pane is over here, and it'll pull this guy up and give you a little bit more control, right? Fill, line. It does allow you to use a picture or texture as a background. I would strongly recommend against this. It's going to be very distracting for your reader. It'll be like, oh, it's really cool that this is up against a brick wall, but every time the color changes, your reader's sitting there going, oh, wait a minute, let me zoom in. You don't want them to have to do that. Background is best as like a light neutral-ish color. Okay, that's not to say you can't be like, okay, well, I want to have a background color, and all you do is right click and click background. Um, it's not to say you can't be like, okay, well, I want purple, right? Say that rhetorically makes sense, but trust me when I tell you, you don't want this purple, okay? And purple, to be fair, doesn't rhetorically work with climate change. But we can then say, okay, this is a good start. But let me look at these kind of tools that I have. How light can I go with this? Okay, not as light as I want, but I want to move it closer to the center, which is white, and just have a hint. That's a little easier to read, right? Maybe still a little bit dark, so we might want to do that again, right? The thing I'm trying to impress upon you is that creating a website is not overly difficult. Ah, okay, that's a little bit nicer even. You got that hint of purple, but it doesn't overwhelm. Um, the thing about creating a website is that it's not difficult. You just need to think about each step that you're accomplishing. All right, and if that is one thing that you come away with, okay, as I'm sitting here creating my logo and I'm creating my color scheme and I'm creating all the things that I need visually, take care with each step because those visual impressions that you make are going to be very important. As you're writing, think about, okay, what do I want my reader to take away from this? What tone do I want them to see? All right, those are the biggest things. Okay, make sure you're being thoughtful. All right, so thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you next time. Let me know if you need anything.